Do you believe in the existence of extraterrestrials?
Will someone answer the goddamn phone? Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Monday, March 3rd, 2025. Where has the first 2 months of the year gone? Where's the first 6 of the year gone, my friends? Well, it's here, it's there, it's out of there. No disclosure, no buckle up, no strap in. Yes, my friends, bend over, grab your ankles, because get ready for strap-on disclosure. Yes, we know. We want disclosure, we want to have it. But yeah, when you have to have a headline like House Documents Reveals, all roads lead to Roswell, you know there's a lot of things going on in the land of disclosure today, I tell you. But before we get there, let's have some fun. Remember, folks, we are here to have fun. We are serious about not being serious. On that note, let me go ahead and strike up the drums and welcome in our wonderful audience. How about that? There we go. Let's go ahead and put those drums up and let's see who the hell we have out there. Happy Monday, everybody. I haven't said so. Hopefully your Monday was as good for you as it was for me. Oh, it's one of those days you just want to go ahead, take out a gold star and the trash can. But anyway, let's go ahead and welcome in our audience. Who the hell do we have out there? We have $70 Million Man X and Anne Marie's here, along with April R. Coleman. Would you look at that? Benjamin Dreyer's here, along with Brian Morgan. Carl Joe Garrison's around, along with Corgi Castle Shadow, the Ear Dog, and Eric Roth and the Gurus. Pink Floyd and Firefly and Frank Cathell and Frank Einstein are here, along with Geraldine D'Orazio. Good to see you, Geraldine. We got Ghost Fixer, Gray Jedi, Gringo, Suave. Jan is here. Good to see you, Jan. Jay Cat and JD from Philly. We got John Mooner, Johnny UFO, Juliana Reverbal, and Kane Northup. But you look at that, we've got Kathy and Kelly Bro with those piercing blue eyes. No, I wouldn't miss you, Kelly. We got to thank Lit Clicker for coming here, along with Martime Unprepared. I see Megan Betts and Mick, and Mr. Grimlock. How about that? Followed by Mr. Joey B and Nance Brown and Nancy Kuzmano. The Nances are in the audience, my friend. They're in the studio. Let's welcome in Niles Guy and Omar Alia. I'll never get that one right. As well as Roland and Sam and Shinobi Juan Kenobi. There you go, close enough. And Super Unknown, we got the Chromosome Cowboy, Tia Marie, and 2 midgets on a horse. A stable, but 2 midgets on a horse. That is an act I am happy to follow. Let's also thank Wee Beastie. And, of course, Whitey. But I have to say a special thanks to Yell Tommy Tanker, also known as Andy, who has been in the chat, who's listening on his headphones and work. How about that? Well, on that note, it's that time of the night, friends, to go ahead. Take a look who in the heck we have in our back studio. You never know who's going to be showing up or who just did. Well, let's go ahead and put our sights down in Florida. Let's welcome in the warm, the illustrious. Let's welcome in Alice W. How's it going, Alice?
Hey, Thomas. Pretty good. I'm not sure that phone's ever going to get answered.
No, but I have fun complaining about it. Apparently, I'm the only one who can answer the phone and say, hello, Susan.
As for all roads point to Roswell, I've always wondered why civilization hardly did anything the first couple thousand years, and then since Roswell, we've really advanced. So I'm pretty sure that might be true.
Yeah, it does. A lot of stuff leads back to there, my dear lady. Thank you for coming in, and thank you for that wonderful speculation. I appreciate you being here today.
Thanks, Thomas.
You better believe it. Let's put our sights on Hawaii. Some call it the Aloha State. I call it the state that has Corporal Abe locked up. How's it going, Abe? How you doing, my friend?
I'm back. I'm happy to be here with you guys today. Feeling well. Thanks for all the help with some friends out there, and good to see you, Thomas.
Are you wearing camouflage today?
I wish I was.
Well, white and
Just
camouflage. There you go, like a cow.
Another
White and
one
black.
of my 22 Hawaiian shirts.
There you go. Thank you for coming in, my friend. Let's put our sights on Indiana, what we call a Hoosier state. Let's see if we got a Hoosier here by the name of Daryl Zernick. How's it going, Daryl?
Doing great, Thomas. Great to see Corporal Abe back in the chat. It's going to be a great night.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so, Daryl. Nice shirt, my friend. Also, let's go ahead and put our sights on the Great White North, a place that's going to have a huge surplus of maple syrup. Let's welcome in our dear friend, Freezerman71. How's it going, in my friend?
I'm doing well, Thomas. And we got lots of uses for maple syrup, so I'm not too worried.
Oh, yeah. We should think about selling it to Avi Lube. You never know. Let's go ahead and put our sights up, still up in Canada. Let's go ahead and welcome in the man from the province where all the U's are silent. Let's welcome in Mr. Michael Sokoloff. How's it going, Michael?
It's going good, Thomas. Talking about maple syrup, I remember when I was in grade school.
Yeah.
They would take every year. They take the students out to the maple syrup farms.
Yeah.
And we'd see all these trees with buckets on them and whatnot. And you'd take the maple syrup and you'd mix it with the snow and have like a popsicle. It was wonderful.
Oh, nice.
So I don't think we have lots of uses for maple syrup. So it just means we'll have to eat more popsicles, I guess.
Yeah. And we've got plenty of corn down here, so 3 cheers for Aunt Jemima.
Isn't Aunt Jemima just sugar?
Well, yeah, well, it's corn sugar, my friend, just as good, but it tastes
corn
so
sugar,
good.
right,
Oh,
right,
gosh,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
High
It's not
fructose corn syrup, my friend. Anyway, thank you for coming in. Let's put our sights on a little bit out further south, actually on the northeast. Let's go ahead and welcome in our resident masshole from Massachusetts, Sergeant Daniel, USMC.
Hey, how you doing? Glad to be here. Thanks.
Pretty good to have you. God, he sounds like syrup. Let's go ahead and put our sights on New York. Part of New York, at least. Let's welcome in Tia Marie. How you doing?
Hello, Thomas. Happy to be here. Gonna have a good show.
Good to have you here, my dear lady. And that's since we've got one person in New York. I think we've got another one. Mike, Disclosure. How's it going, my friend?
Oh, it's going. We're having one of those Mondays today, I believe. You and I both. Yeah, we'll get through it, though. It's okay. Could be worse.
Oh, my God. Yeah, my friends. Welcome to the great March drought of disclosure. Mike, I have never, we've talked about it being dead last year, different parts of the year.
Yeah. It was really dead last year.
It's really dead now. That's why I was joking around saying we had the buckle up last year. Then we had the strap in earlier this year. I hope that wasn't for Jake Barber because that's definitely not a strap in. It really feels more like a strap on. That's why I'm saying grab your Avi Lube, my friends, and get ready to go ahead and grab your ankles because we are in the great drought of disclosure. I didn't think we'd be hitting it at this point. Did anybody?
No. Because we were firmly buying into all of the campaign promises that were made in regards to disclosure. And we believed it because it was something that sounded at the time very credible.
And it's not like there's not a lot of stuff going on in Washington, D.C. There is, and hopefully they'll get to it sooner than later. But I don't think disclosure wraps around the little pinky finger of our president. I think it, didn't they all say, oh, this is about the House, this is about the Senate, this is about getting congressional disclosure, which never happened?
Well, we know why, because you and I broke the story about the shenanigans going on from Nancy Mace in Congress with the last UAP hearing.
Well, I was thinking about the shenanigans from Schumer and Rounds is talking that he wants to bring his, NDAA back for one more time, but this time they're going to do it not attached to a bill. Good luck getting that through these days.
Oh, third time's the charm? Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, no, hell no.
No.
So yeah,
It'll be- yeah, same as it's been. Two strikes. That'll be third strike and you're out.
Yeah.
Yep. Waste of everybody's time, but I'm sorry.
I
Go
know.
ahead.
So it's one of those things we just have to take a look at and realize, yeah, disclosure would be nice, but apparently it's not star. You know, we did have that planetary alignment. Was it 7 stars, 7 planets got in an alignment? But clearly disclosure was not one of those planets that was aligning.
No. It was not.
Yeah. So that was a great show, Mike.
It was.
Oh, we do have something to talk about, I think. Yes, and one of the few things that I ran into today was a document that came to us from, where is it at? Actually, from docs.house.gov/go12/2024-1113. So maybe from a hearing. Could have been. Maybe.
Could have been.
But it was something that was thrown up there. There were some people bringing up stuff about disclosure and where it is, where it isn't. More importantly, they were bringing up the conversation about those UAP materials that were in possession of Lockheed Martin.
Right.
But the pages that follow behind it point to a whole bunch of old, formerly classified documents that talk about the UFO sightings that were going on in the desert Southwest around the time we got the FBI, CIA, and the, the National Security Act, followed by the Atomic Energy Act, that whole late 40s, early 50s time frame.
Yeah, it was pretty busy back then. Plus, we were in the height of the Cold War as well. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, we're talking, well, not even. It was, what? No, that wasn't Cold War. The Cold War was in the late 40s, early 50s. I think the Cold War happened in the 70s and 80s, didn't it?
No. It was after the Second World War had ended. Russia was now looking to get nuclear secrets from us. And we were in the middle of a Cold War in an arms race.
You're right. You're right. You're correct.
Till 91 when they collapsed.
Yeah, but you asked ChatGPT almost as quickly as I did.
No, I didn't ask at all. I knew that.
Yeah. All right.
I'm a student of history. And we've covered enough of this on the show and in our private lives that I'm well familiar with the time frame around all of this stuff. How could you not be?
Oh, easily. Oh boy. Let's get into it. Let's find it. Let's get into our first document today. I get to read a bunch today. That'll be a fun one, I tell you. It's going to be a fun one. Yeah.
Oh, wait. Here comes another one. Quick, give me your lighter.
All right, and that's the show. No. Gotta have fun with it. Gotta love it. Said Big Bang, and I had to click on it, of course, to see what. Yes, that's a Big Bang. Kaboom. All right. Let's see where it goes. Yes, Wesley Sisson says Canada is shutting down the U.S. to power down to the United States 5 p.m. tomorrow. Let's see if he actually does it. Interesting to see if that happens.
Yeah, I'd like to see that happen, actually.
Yeah. Is it rhetoric or is it actually an actionable item that's going to happen? I think it's rhetoric.
If they know what's good for them, it'll be rhetoric.
Yeah, about all those GM cars that they want to ship to the United States to be bought. I don't think it's going to happen. Nope.
Probably not.
Yeah, there's plenty of people in Canada who can afford those vehicles. Oh, that's right. They tax people too much. Let's not get there.
Yep.
Let's get to it. Oh, sorry, chat. You got me there. Where the hell am I? Let's try ahead and find this document that I want to follow. All right, here we go. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's small. We'll try and get to it and make it easily more readable. But, okay, this is cleared for publication, open publication on September 6th, 2023. Bit ago. Let's get into this. So we'll go down a little bit further into it, past all the mess here. The $22 million allocated for DIA OSAP. That's a program Lou Elizondo was a part of. after speaking to multiple individuals on the program, was initially intended to skiff out Bigelow Aerospace facilities in Las Vegas due to a, quote, UAP material divestment plan proposed to OSAP leadership by Lockheed Martin Space Systems Vice President Dr. James Ryder, who's now deceased. A specific facility known to me was described as having crash material from the 1950s and other historical operations. They propose a technology transfer agreement, a TTA, into the proposed waived PSAP Senator Reid was championing. See the DIA FOIA release. Now, hold on, Mike. I have to bring this up for all attention to talk about for a second.
That PSAP stands out to me.
No, not just the PSAP. What really stands out to this is if supposedly the United States has had all of these, if you want to call it, crash retrieval programs going on, or bringing down UFOs with egg UFOs. Of course, we need a dozen of those to get there. Why in the hell, if they've retrieved all of these UFOs, right, Mike, and all these bodies and all these things that came down, why would they be so worried to go ahead and transfer material from Roswell from the 1950s in a current time and date? You know what I mean? So if these UFO retrieval programs have been going on, why are they so worried about having crash retrieval material from the 1950s and other historical operations being transferred? It sounds like to me the conversation that's been going on out there about these recent crash retrieval programs sounds like bunk to me.
Well, let's look at the time frame. This transfer allegedly was to occur after OSAP was stood up in 2008. But if you remember, Lockheed was having issues with the Admiral Thomas Wilson back in 2002. And when Wilson tried to get access to this program, they already informed him that they got violated once before when they were going through an audit. And he was the second one to do that. So maybe at that point in 2008, Lockheed was looking on divesting from this, because we've heard from Dr. Eric Davis, who was also the one who put the memo together from Admiral Wilson, that they hadn't made much progress since the 1950s. And as a
wait a minute. So all the conversations saying about we reverse engineered this, we have this, reverse engineered human crafts that are out there. If that was really the case, how in the hell would they have, why would they be worried about stuff they recovered in the 50s if they had figured it out, Mike, and reverse engineered it?
They wouldn't need it anymore if they reverse engineered it. No. And I don't think they did, because, again, Dr. Eric Davis had stated publicly recently on the Jesse Michaels show that in all the years that he's been working for the government, and he's aware of programs like this, we have not been able to crack the material science of this technology, and have made very little headway since we recovered these craft. So I don't think that we have man-made craft like this, because what is it that David Grush had said when he was talking about this? He said that we're actually in the middle of a Cold War with foreign adversaries around the globe on this very subject. Well, if that was true and we had breakthroughs of that magnitude, and they were following suit behind us, as they usually do, technology-wise, we wouldn't be seeing all of the conflicts going on around the world, like in the Ukraine or in the Middle East. Those would have been resolved relatively easily and quickly, I would think.
Oh, God, if we had the technology like that, there would be no need for wars.
Right.
Flat out.
Exactly. So I think Dr. Davis speaks the truth, because we're not really in possession of technology of that we can use. If we were, we wouldn't be guessing about it. We would see it being played out right before our very eyes. They wouldn't keep it a secret.
No, they wouldn't,
Right.
would they?
No, they sure as hell would.
Yeah. Well,
So
let's
that's horseshit. And so now getting back to this, I have a feeling. Well, Dr. Davis also said that when corporations are contracted under the U.S. government to do reverse engineering, he said the first company that was contracted was TRW. And they usually hold these contracts and they don't make much headway or progress for about 10 years. And then it moves to different military industrial contractors because they don't want to spend an inordinate amount of time wasting their money on something that's not producing any results.
Was it
So they move it
TRW? I
on.
thought it was actually going to the Aerospace Corporation.
Well, Dr. Davis mentioned on the Jesse Michaels interview that the first one was actually TRW. So it's interesting because if that's how corporate America works, then even if Lockheed was looking to divest of this because they were the ones that were sitting on it for probably for the longest time, they've had enough. But the CIA stepped in, Glenn Gaffney, and he prevented that from happening. So that's where we were at with all this and why it didn't move forward.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? We've talked about this on the show many times. As far as Bigelow, we knew the facilities that he created to house this program and take it into Bigelow Aerospace. One of the things that he also created, if you remember, was a chamber with zero gravity.
No, he didn't create a
complete
chamber
vacuum.
with zero gravity.
Vacuum.
No, he created specifically a facility, or a facility underneath his warehouse facility in Las Vegas proper. They actually
Right.
created a portion of it that didn't have zero gravity. It lacked the atmosphere of Earth and required people who were going to this area to wear protective suits because if they were to go in there, they'd frickin' suffocate and die because it lacked atmosphere.
That sounds a lot to me like a reverse engineering.
No, it
aspect of a
sounds to
program
me like
this.
they want to keep something captive in it. If you have something that requires an atmosphere to live, right, in this big area, and you have a little area in the center that has atmosphere and everything, basically you have now just created an escape-proof facility. Because anything that would try and get out of that facility that would have some atmosphere in the center is being surrounded by a facility that lacks atmosphere. It's the best way to keep something locked away that you don't want to get out.
Actually, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
That's why they
Bigelow
had
didn't get it after
That's
all.
why there was no, I mean, if you just look and say, why in the hell? Unless, or the other potential reason would be, Mike, if they had material that would self-destruct when it was exposed to, right, the atmosphere of the Earth, that could potentially be the other reason. Meaning, I've got some technology, some other stuff that's got stuff on an atomic level woven into it, right? That if I've got this device here, right, that when I bring it out in contact with the air, it disintegrates and falls apart. Now, but if I have it in an environment that lacks atmosphere, that would prevent that structure from getting exposed to air, right? You follow me here?
Yeah, I am.
You know, so it's either A, to keep something in that's alive from getting out, or potentially to keep something from being exposed to the elements that could potentially be resulted in its destruction.
It could also be the metamaterials. They react differently in a vacuum, like space, than they do in the atmosphere.
But
Now,
think
that
about
makes a
this.
lot of sense,
If you
actually.
have a ship, right?
Yeah.
And you want to make sure that this particular ship in whatever it is does not get into the hands of the stupid monkeys who like to throw nuclear shit at each other.
Yeah.
If that shift, the warp bubble goes away, the interior of the craft gets exposed to the atmosphere of the Earth, you know that ship has been compromised. And the last thing you want is that technology to get into the hand of the monkeys who like to throw nuclear materials at each other.
Yeah, it could, in theory, make all of the technology on board those ships inert because it's affecting the atmosphere.
Not just that, self-destructing.
Yeah, maybe, but they've been in possession of these crafts since Roswell in '47, and they haven't destructed.
Well,
so maybe it's that, maybe not.
Maybe it's something we don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know.
We don't know. But it didn't. The transfer never went through, as we've reported on.
No, it did not. It did not. Well, we do have some great documents to talk through here. Does anyone in the back have their hand up? No one in the back has their hand up.
Then we'll proceed with the document.
All right. So, what do you know, President Obama and Trump being briefed on the legacy program's activities as defined in Senator Schumer's end? Okay, let's get past this. Let's get into it. Our first document is coming to us from 25th of May, 1950. Summary of observations of aerial phenomena in the New Mexico area from December 1948 through May 1950, going to Brigadier General Joseph F. Carroll, Director of Special Investigations, Headquarters, USAF, Washington 25 D.C. How about that? We're talking about people in the OSI. Wasn't that the group that Rick was involved in, Mike?
Oh, very heavily it was. The Air Force Office of Special Investigations.
Yeah.
They were the ones that primarily dealt with these objects.
So they're really believable.
Mm-hmm.
They never tell us something that's not the truth.
We'd have to talk to Rick about that.
Yeah. Rick, are you there? Rick. Come on in, my friend. Let's go ahead. Rumor has it he may be watching the show, so it never hurts to ask. Let's see. In a liaison meeting with other military and government intelligence and investigative agencies in December 1948, it was determined that the frequency of unexplained aerial phenomena in the New Mexico area, such as that an organizing plan of reporting these observations should be undertaken. Isn't that where we had one of our national laboratories at Sandia, Mike?
Yes, it is, Thomas, actually.
Yeah. All right, Here we go. The organization and physical location of units of the district were most suitable for collecting these data. Therefore, since December 1948, the district has assumed the responsibility for collecting and reporting basic information with respect to aerial phenomena occurring in this general area. These reports have been distributed to the Air Material Command, USAF, in accordance with the Air Intelligence Requirements, HO4, and the other interested military and government agencies. Move on. There is attached a part of this summary, a compilation of aerial phenomena sightings that have occurred mostly in the New Mexico area and have been reported by this district office subsequent to December 1948. This compilation of sightings is not a complete record of all reported observations, but includes only those in which sufficient information was available to justify their inclusion. The observer of these phenomena includes scientists, special agents of the Office of Special Investigations, IGUSAF, airline pilots, military pilots, Los Alamos. Actually, Los Alamos is a place I was thinking of, not Sandia. Los Alamos security inspectors, military personnel, and many persons of varying occupations whom reliability is not questioned. So, Mike, that is a short list of very people who you would, by today's standards, seem very credible.
Well, the military personnel are trained observers, so they're highly credible, of course.
Yeah, special agents, you got scientists, you got airline pilots, military pilots, security inspectors, military personnel. This is like the A-list of type of people who Lou Elizondo would love to go ahead and bring forward the truth about disclosure these days.
Yeah, these are also probably along the same lines of witnesses that David Grush had interviewed over the course of 4 years.
And people at certain points in their time have been copacetic with the cover-up, correct?
Unfortunately, that's why it's gone on for so long.
All right. This compilation sets forth the most important characteristics with respect to each observation and evaluate each sighting into one of these three classifications. 1, green fireball phenomenon. 2, disk variation. And 3, probably motoric, whatever that is. So it looks like they're really looking about these flying saucers, Mike. It seemed to be popular back then. It still is today.
Well, what I find interesting about it is these documents are indicating they were taking this really seriously back then. They claim today that they don't have no knowledge of it, like if you talk to Susan Goff. But back then, according to this document, no, they took this as serious as a heart attack.
And you believe them?
Well, no, of course not, obviously.
Yeah, I know it. I know. Let's get into this. Here we go. All right. So it's also noted an analysis of the green fireball occurrences in this area made by Dr. Lincoln LaPaz. Dr. LaPaz is the something director of the Institute of Meteorics and head of the Department of Mathematics and Astronomy at the University of New Mexico. He was research mathematician at the Mexico Proving Grounds under OSRD Analysis Section, Headquarters, 2nd Air Force between 44 and 45. Since 48, Dr. LaPaz has served on a voluntary basis as consultant for this district in connection with the Green Fireball investigations. Interesting, Mike, that they're actually tying these flying saucers to green fireballs. I wonder if that's where they got the whole concept of little green men from Mars.
Oh, I don't know, maybe. But you said 44 and 45?
Between 44 and 45, yeah.
Yeah, that was during the end of the Second World War. So that's somebody who is very serious about their job. No joke.
Right, but it's right before Roswell as well.
That's true, which happened in 47.
Number 4 on 17th February 1949, and again on 14th of October 1949, conferences were held at Los Alamos, New Mexico, for the purpose of discussing the green fireball phenomena. Representatives of the following organizations were present at these meetings: 4th Army, Armed Forces Special Weapons Project, University of New Mexico, Federal Bureau of Investigation, the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission, University of California, U.S. Air Force Command, USAF, and the Office of Special Investigations, USAF. A logical explanation was not preferred with respect to the origin of those green fireballs. It was, however, generally concluded that the phenomenon existed and that they should be studied scientifically until these occurrences have been satisfactorily explained. Further, that though continued occurrence of unexplained phenomena of this nature in the vicinity of sensitive installations is the cause for concerns. Mike, I've never heard about this green fireball phenomena before.
No, neither have I. But let me remind you that the time frame before Roswell, David Grush publicly testified about the recovered crash from Magenta, Italy back in 1933. And we were negotiating with the Vatican during the Second World War to recover that craft. So our government at that point in 44 and 45 was well aware of these craft and being in possession of at least one of them from Italy.
Yeah.
According to the history.
A magenta UFO crash. It looks like a bell,
back in
right?
33. Yep, that's the one.
Oh, yeah.
So they take it as pretty goddamn seriously at that point, I would imagine.
We would imagine. That's definitely. I move on. I digress. Let's get into the Geophysical Research Division, Air Meteorological Command, Cambridge, Massachusetts, has recently led a contract to Land Air Incorporated in Holloman Air Force Base, New Mexico, for limited scientific study of green fireballs. The results of the scientific approach to the problem will undoubtedly be of great value in determining the origin of this phenomena. So again, green fireballs, highly tied back to saucers? I had no idea. The resulting of the scientific approach of the program will undoubtedly be of great value determining the origin of this phenomena. And 6, the title summary of observations of aerial phenomena has been prepared for the purpose of reemphasizing and reiterating the fact that phenomena have continuously occurred in the New Mexico skies during the past 18 months and are continuing to occur. And secondly, that these phenomena are occurring in the vicinity of sensitive military and government installations.
So now you're telling me this was the date of this letter was what, 1950? On or about?
May 25th, 1950. Moose, stop it.
Right, because we had in New Mexico the Roswell crash, and it sounds like what they were observing in New Mexico pretty consistently was some sort of a search and rescue operation from the NHI, potentially.
I actually have to believe it wasn't a search and rescue as much as it is they were going ahead and very interested in our laboratory we had in that area. Los Alamos, most specific.
You might be right, because that's where we developed the atomic bomb.
And there was a time around end of the 40s, early 50s, stop it, where there were hundreds of sightings of saucers going on at that time.
Well, 52, we had in 2 weekends in July, we had these objects en masse all over the White House, if you remember. So they were giving a message to our Capitol, to the president in 52, which might have been connected to what occurred in 47 in Roswell, as well as to what was going on in 1950 over New Mexico. A lot of activity, it seems like.
Yep. It seems
so. We got their attention, and they're obviously trying to get ours during this time frame.
Yep. If we can, we have Alice in the back with her hand up.
Certainly.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, Alice.
Hi, Mike. I'm thinking, wasn't it just about a year or two ago where it was in Las Vegas and the cop caught I thought he caught a green fireball coming down in Nevada. And then the people said that the aliens were in their backyard. You remember that?
We do. We covered that story.
Was it real or no?
It was. They believed it was either a comet or an asteroid that came into the atmosphere. But we also had the video footage showing something streaking across the night sky on the dash cam.
Was it a green fireball? That's what I'm kind of remembering.
Yeah, no, it might have been green in color.
Okay. Just what I'm remembering. Thank you.
All roads lead back to Vegas too, Mike. You never know.
Yep.
So this is coining from Dial Refs, Lieutenant Colonel USAF District Commander. How about that? So if we go down a little bit further, we've got September 23rd, 1940 what? Can't be 1941.
No.
The mimeograph is really old, 1952. We'll deal with it. Let's get into it. As requested by AS/AS-2, there is presented below the considered opinion. Moose, get down! Of this command concerning a so-called flying discs. This opinion is based on the interrogation report data furnished by AS/AS-2 and Division T-3. This opinion was arrived at a conference between personnel from Air Institute of Technology, Intelligence T-2, Office Chief of Engineering Division, and the Aircraft, Power Plant and Propeller Laboratories of Engineering Division T-3. Is the opinion that the phenomenon reported is something real and not visionary or fictitious. There are objects probably approximately the shape of a disc of such appreciable size as to appear to be as large as a man-made aircraft. Again,
Yeah.
taking the sightings that were out there back in those days, actual sightings by lots of people.
Credible people.
Credible people. Interesting.
A lot of activity.
Lots of activity, to say the least. Let's move on. There is the possibility that some of the incidents may be caused by natural phenomena, such as meteors. D, the reported operating characteristics, such as extreme rates of climb, maneuverability, particularly in roll, and action, which must be considered evasive when sighted or contacted by friendly aircraft and radar, lend belief to the possibility that some of the objects are controlled either manually, automatically, or remotely. The apparent common description of these objects is as follows: metallic or light reflecting surface. And actually, says secret and secret again. Let's move on. Basic LTR, okay, blah, 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 basic opinion concerning flying discs. Absence of trail, except in a few instances when the object apparently was operating under high-performance conditions. Circular or elliptical in shape, flat on the bottom, domed on the top. Several reports of well-kept formation flights varying from 3 to 9 objects. Normally, no associated sound, except in 3 instances where a substantial rumbling roar was noted. Level flight speeds,
they're reporting.
normally above 300 knots, were estimated. F. It is possible within the present U.S. knowledge, provided extensive detailed developments is undertaken, to construct a piloted aircraft which has a general description of the object in subparagraph E above, which would be capable of approximately a range of 7,000 miles at subsonic speeds. Even back in that day, something traveling 7,000 miles, Mike, was beyond human capability.
We didn't have technology for that, yeah.
Any
That's
develops
true.
in this country along the lines of indicated would be extremely expensive, time-consuming, and at the considerable expense of current projects, and therefore, if directed, should be met up independently of existing projects. Due consideration must be given the following. 1, the possibility that these objects are of domestic origin, the product of some high-security project not known in AC/AS-2 or this command. 2, the lack of physical evidence in the shape of the crash recovered exhibits. The lack of physical evidence in the shape of crash recovered exhibits, which would undeniably prove the existence of these objects. And 3, the possibility that some foreign nation has a form of propulsion, possibly nuclear, which is outside of our domestic knowledge. Mike, this is the same kind of bullshit we're trying to excuse ourselves with these today. That all these could be a breakthrough technology by Russia or China, Iran. You know what I mean? You've heard the same spiel time and time again.
Yeah, except this was going on 76 years ago. So nothing has changed is right.
Yeah, absolutely. It seems to be that way. I digress, and let's move on. It is recommended that a headquarters Army Air Force issues a direct assigning a priority, security classification, and code name for a detailed study of the matter to include the preparation of complete sets of all available and pertinent data, which will then become available to the array of Navy Atomic Energy Commission, JPD3, the Air Force Scientific Advisory Group, MAGA, M-A-G-A, no, it's NACA, and the RAND and NEPA projects for the comments and recommendations with a preliminary report to be forwarded within 15 days of receipt of the data and a detailed report thereafter every 30 days as the investigation is redacted. Actually, investigation develops. A complete interchange of data should be effected for awaiting a specific directive will continue the investigation within its current resources in order to more closely define the nature of the phenomenon. Detailed essential elements of information will be formulated immediately for transmittal through channels. Coming from NF Twinning or Tyning, Lieutenant General USA, commandeering. So, Mike, we look back at the date of everything that's going on here. Clearly, the United States government has not advanced anything since the late 40s, early 50s. How could that be?
Because we're missing key parts of reproducing this type of material and this technology.
Oh, in other words, our government is claiming
We ain't found shit!
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Well, listen to Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick.
Oh, you mean the man who would be called?
Oh, a bullshit artist.
Oh, yeah. You got one, you've got the other, my friend.
Yeah, no, it's true. But yeah, even in regards to that, it seems like nothing has changed. Prior to Dr. Kirkpatrick and the time frame that we're talking about and covering right now, we had J. Allen Hynek, who was serving a similar function to the one that Kirkpatrick had done in Arrow. So nothing changes, not the academics, not the story, not the message, and that's been going on damn near 80 years and counting. It's
and this
disgusting.
is why disclosure is going so great that we have to look back to the time frame of September 24th, 1952 to find something to talk about.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is where disclosure is at currently. And, we're hoping for a better outcome, but time will tell.
All I can say is one word, Mike: disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
We've been fed a bunch of bullshit, and I'm tired of the taste because no matter how much butter you put on it, like Lee Iacocca would say, it still tastes like shit.
It does. And a lot of people are pushing back because of that.
Yeah.
And especially anyone in the general public that doesn't follow this regularly but has an avid interest.
Yeah, but if you have an avid interest, you can always go ahead and sign up for a speech and pay some money to go ahead and ask some questions. Where's disclosure?
Well, we're going to get the same answers that we've been getting so far.
Yeah.
With promises, but nothing that's delivered upon of any concrete relevance.
So promises made, not promises kept, is in order what you're getting. We're just getting led along here like a freaking mule chasing after a carrot, it feels like.
Yeah, the carrot, and the stick, unfortunately. Alice has a hand up.
I do. I will bring her up in a second, but Paul DeMond does bring up a really great point. He said bacon can. Bacon from the United States is completely different from bacon in the United Kingdom. It is. Oh, it is so much better than the United States. So much better.
I think so, but I'm a little biased.
Well, who likes nice, fresh, gamey, chewy bacon? We like ours nice and crisp, a little smoky, maybe a little sweet to it and spice and salty.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Alice, you have your hand up, my dear lady. Hopefully it's about bacon.
Oh, gosh. Do you think setting up Luna with the disclosure and everything she was supposed to do may have just been a ploy? Maybe it wasn't even, there was no intent to make anything known?
There is. The thing is, it's just taking some time for the executive branch to get through it. Remember, Luna and her crew, the Lunettes, the Loonies. Oh my God! I guess we have some new nicknames come up on this, Mike. The people who are going and bringing all the disclosure out, they ain't doing shit. They're waiting for the executive branch, right, Mike, to go ahead and disclose this stuff so they can bring it to them. I mean, the right-wing influencers to bring out the truth on this stuff, right?
Well, that's what they did the other day when they released some information from the Epstein file. But it turned out that was actually old information from 2015 that was already out there, so they really didn't get anything.
That really embarrassed all the people that got that folder, too. That was a shame.
It's almost like they put those people, Alice, it's almost like they put all those people from the House Oversight Committee onto that new little group to keep them occupied.
Oh, my gosh. It's just
keep tabs. I know. Sorry, go ahead, Alice.
Oh, thank you. That was all I had.
Yeah, it certainly is interesting, but it's the same story.
Yeah. Hey, Daryl, what do you think? I'm going to start randomly calling on people in the back. Daryl, what are your thoughts? Do you think we're going to get real disclosure, or do you think it's going to be kept on, just out of our reach? We lost Daryl. How about Ed? Ed, what do you think?
No, I'm disappointed in what I see so far. I thought it would be coming out a lot faster than it is, and I think they're just going to slow roll, and we won't get what we're looking for.
These aren't the droids you're looking for, in other words. All right, let's continue on in this next document. Yes, I'm randomly calling out our friends in the back because usually they're friends in the back that raise their hands, but today they're not, so I'll be like that teacher. Watch everybody leave. Let's get into this. This one's coming from the Director of Central Intelligence. I've never noticed them use the Sueno, not the Sueno, the little accent over the G in intelligence. That's new to me. Coming from the Deputy Director of Intelligence. Subject, flying saucers. Recently, an inquiry has conducted the Office of Scientific Intelligence to determine whether there is a national security implications into the problems of unidentified flying objects, i.e. flying saucers. Lou keeps on calling it a national security threat. If they couldn't call it a national security threat back then, I am not going to call it a national security threat. This problem and its relation, such national security implications, and what further investigations and research should be instituted by whom and under what aegis. 2. It was found that the only unit of government currently studying the problem is the Directorate of Intelligence, USAF, which has charged the Air Technical Intelligence Center, ATIC as it's called, with responsibility for investigating and dismissing these sightings. At ANTIC, there is a group of 3 officers and 2 secretaries, to which come through official channels all reportings of the sightings. This group conducts investigations of the reports, consulting as required with other Air Force and civilian technical personnel. A worldwide reporting system has been instituted, and major Air Force bases have been ordered to make interceptions of UFOs. The research is being conducted on a case-by-case basis and is designed to provide a satisfactory explanation of each individual sighting. ATIC is concluded an arrangement with Battelle Memorial Institute, which runs all of our national laboratories, for the latter to establish a machine and something system for official reports of sightings. So, Mike, we talked about this, how our government, and this goes back to the stuff back in the day after we had the whole Nimitz incident and we had our first UFO hearings saying the United States government needs to come out with a classification reporting system for a whole of government. It sounds like there was one put in place back in the late 40s, early 50s. Alice?
To me, you just changed some of the words and it could have been written today. Some of
Yes.
yeah. It's the same old, same old. It sounds exactly what they did recently. I mean,
It does.
yeah.
It's like people forget what we've done in the past, and then they come to it in the future. It's like, oh, let's do all this stuff, and it's the same fucking shit they did 50, 60, 70 years ago, and they're doing it again today, and everyone says, oh, this is great. Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and sign up for it.
We're
But
all
it's
a bunch of rubes. It's terrible.
Yeah,
Oh, a bullshit artist.
is what it seems like.
That's true.
Time and time again. The more we learn, the more we've realized this is the same shit they've been pulling on us for all this time. And this is why you shouldn't get excited when you get people in Washington, or people who work for Washington, or people who worked for Washington, or the people who are in the military who keep on coming and saying, you're going to get it. It's going to happen. Here we go, folks. Let's happen. I'm sorry. I have to look at this and be a little skeptical in it, because
So many years ago, same thing.
yeah. All right. This group conducts investigation of the reports, consulting as required with other Air Force and civilian technical personnel. A worldwide reporting system has been instituted, and major Air Force bases have been ordered to take interceptions. Okay, we read this shit. All right. Sightings in attic, blah, blah, blah. So they started this stuff. They've been researching this, and they keep on saying they're going to research it. They're going to figure it out, and they'll tell us the truth. Problem is, folks, friends, we keep on going back to the people who are covering this shit up and trusting them and believing them. That's the problem. We give them too much leeway. You know, they want to go ahead and feed us some stuff and feed us some more and get us excited about it. And where does it get us? Fucking nowhere. Time and time again. Braden, your hand is up, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah, I understand your attitude towards this, and I would tend to agree. I think the inherent problem with this subject is the people who hold the secrets are inherently untrustworthy.
Well, what about this new layer of disclosure, not even disclosure, investigation into it, when it's going to be the tech bros out of Silicon Valley investing their billions, and they're going to lock away the truth under their patents and secrecy because they want to try and monetize on this stuff? Where's that going to get us? Nowhere.
Oh, you don't think they're morally pure?
They're morally attached to that as much as I'm morally attached to $1 that I'm getting ready to spend.
Yeah, I mean, that's what's really frustrating about this subject, and it keeps me coming back and then taking breaks. Yeah, inevitably you get hit, run into the same wall again and again. So,
we keep on hitting it, don't we? And people continue to be suckers listening to the bullshit what people are telling us because we want to believe. Yet all the stuff they bring towards us, all it does is it lets us down.
yeah, I mean, there's some good, interesting stuff that comes out too, but it's a pretty, it's just fraught with a lot of pitfalls, this subject.
It's a slippery slope, isn't it?
It can be, yeah. There's a lot of good people adjacent to it, though, but the people we tend to look to for concrete answers on things are hard to trust. So
there are a lot of good people, supposedly. Let's put the word supposedly in there yet, because we have not found proof of that. Ed Brown, your hand is up, my friend.
Yeah, Thomas, earlier I said, it's not coming out as fast as we were hoping. But when you read these documents and you look at some of the stuff that Lou is talking about and others are talking about, I really don't see how we can't say we have disclosure already.
Disclosure has started.
Yeah,
we are at the very early parts of disclosure. But to say disclosure has happened, all you drop the F word, it's a fucking lie. Disclosure has not happened. We are at the starts of disclosure, and we have a long ways to go before we're going to get anywhere towards a meaningful disclosure, and a long ways to go before we have hit a full disclosure.
Well, perhaps so, but it would seem to me that, short of the proverbial spaceship landing on the White House lawn, it's got to take somebody with some degree of authority to say we are not alone.
Right. Well, it's not just to say it, Ed. We need evidence. If you want to sway the public court of opinion, right? You need evidence. You need evidence that beyond a reasonable doubt that people will buy into it. And if you don't have it, that's not the truth of disclosure, because until the real voting public, the masses, not mass media, but the masses of the people buy into it and say, yes, we're there, we're not there.
Yeah,
and anyone who wants to
about
sell you the snake oil ahead of time, you need to go back about 150 years, because that's where you belong.
That's true. But if you look at just these documents you're going through and some of the other stuff that came out in the late 40s, early 50s, we were getting a lot more than they started seeing in the 60s when they put everything underground and hiding everything from us. Blue Book was nothing but a PR campaign to get people to not worry.
What do you think RO is?
I'm sorry.
RO is the same thing.
Well, it's getting to be that way, isn't it?
Oh, RO has been that way since the day that agency was set up. When we had the UAPTF, we had some meaningful disclosures happening. That gave us the start. But since we got RO put in place, it's been nothing but denial, denial, denial. We are so far up the Nile, we're in Ethiopia at this point.
Yeah,
That's where the Nile River actually starts, folks, if you don't get that joke. All right, since 1947, ATIC had received approximately 1,500 official reports of sightings, plus an enormous volume of letters, phone calls, and press reports. During July 1952 alone, official reports totaled 250 of 1,500 reports. Air Force carries 20% of unexplained, and of those received from January through July 1952, it carries 26% unexplained. 4. In its inquiry into this problem, a team from the CIA's Office of Scientific Intelligence consulted representatives of Air Force Special Study Groups, discussed the problem with those in charge of the Air Force project at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, reviewed a considerable volume of intelligence reporting, checked the Soviet press and broadcast entities, and conferred with the CIA consultants who have broad knowledge of technical concerns. And what was the result? It was found that the ATIC study is probably valid if the purpose is limited to case-by-case explanations. However, that study does not solve more fundamental aspects of the problem. These aspects are to be determined defiantly, the nature of the various phenomena which are causing these sightings, and to discover the means by which those causes, their visual or electronic effects, may be identified immediately. The CIA consultants stated that these solutions would probably be found on the margins or just beyond the ionospheric and extraterrestrial phenomenon, with the added possibility that the present dispersal of nuclear waste products might also be a factor. They recommended that a study group be formed to perform 3 functions. A, analyze and systematize the factors which constitute a fundamental problem. B, determine the fields of fundamental science which must be investigated in order to reach an understanding of the phenomena, and make recommendations for the initiation of appropriate research. Now, remember, Mike, don't we have a whole part of science that our government has been proud to say, a whole area of physics, which has been basically declared, what do you call it, a national secret? Mike, you there?
Yeah, right here. Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Did you hear what I just said?
I'm right here. Yeah. No, repeat that. What did you just say?
Oh, they were talking about that the let me take a look at this here. That the government, oh, never mind. The CIA consultant with the, I'll call in again in a second. So yeah, we're dealing with a system of them trying to systematize the factors which constitute fundamental problems, determine the fields. Oh yeah, exactly, Mike. Don't we have an entire area of physics which has been declared a national secret that we're not supposed to talk about?
Oh, well, it can't be FOIA either. Yeah, that would be the Department of Energy.
Yeah.
Correct.
And they've been proud to talk about that recently.
Yeah. So they've been keeping this very deep since the early 1950s and earlier.
Right.
Nothing has changed. Nothing, it seems like.
No.
Unfortunately. I know. This really sucks right now.
Well, we're back at I would say we were further ahead here in the early 1950s than where we are today.
Yeah. It's just, this story does not seem to progress after all this amount of time in the way that everybody is hoping it does. And even with the whistleblower testimonies that we've received, aside from Commander David Fravor and David Grush, it doesn't seem like anybody has anything new to bring out about this.
We're still in the land of denial. They won't admit to anything.
No,
I would say they've locked it down more than anything that they had back in the past compared to what they're talking about today. It's disgusting. Michael Sokoloff, your hands up, followed by Greg O'Brien.
Thomas, do you think that their approach to this whole thing, in secrecy or not, is the right approach?
Oh, hell no.
They're trying to go ahead and classify an entire form of life that's on our planet today. Does that seem right to you? Doesn't seem right to me. Greg, what do you think?
I mean, it's just, the proof is in the pudding. After all these times, like you and Mike were just saying, nothing's ever become of this. And how long we've been digging on this? So what can we really gather from this in the end, really? We got it. So it starts, does it ever end, or where did it start from?
Is this where we bring out the T-shirts? Everyone wears the T-shirts that say Richie was right.
Oh, God, I hope not.
Yeah, we'd only be having 200 people watching the show and we'd be done. So. I hear you, my friend. Sergeant Daniel, go ahead.
Yeah, I think things have changed in a way, not from our government, but I'm relatively sure that just from what I know, I've experienced whatever. I think things have changed on their end, on the non-human intelligence end. I think for the longest time they had to have actively been evading us and staying hidden, because if they weren't, there'd be more pictures, there'd be more, sightings, and I think this the UFO flaps that people keep calling drones. I still think that they threw the drones up like when we had that doctor on the other night. He said that there was UFOs everywhere, but we threw drones up to muddy the waters. That's what he thought anyway.
Thought that?
The doctor you had on the other night, Brandenburg.
Yeah.
That was his opinion when we got him in the back chat. He said that he thought there were UFOs everywhere, and that we threw drones up just to muddy the waters to make people look at the drones and they could have plauable deniability. So, but
hey, at least that wasn't on air.
Well, he has a lot. I mean, what does he have, like 150 IQ? I mean,
I don't know, Mike. I'm going to step away for a second. I'll let you handle this. All right.
Yeah, I got it. So, yeah, this is something that continues to progress, or lack thereof of any real progression, going on decade after decade. And even in 21st century, it seems like it still continues to not change. Daniel, your hand is up.
Oh, Yeah, I was just talking, but yeah, no, I really do think that eventually it's going to come out. But with the invention of the artificial intelligence, I mean, you're playing with Grok. We were discussing that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when Grok has a 250 IQ, or like they were saying, it's going to be, a lot smarter. It might be able to solve all these problems, and we might be able to just get answers from them. They say that it's right now they can get artificial intelligence at like 140, 150, but every few years it's going to tenfold. It's going to increase tenfold. So what happens when you have 1,500 IQ on one of these artificial intelligences? They're going to probably be able to solve all these problems. And I think that that's the turning point. I think that's where they're going to have to let us know what's going on, because it's going to be very apparent. Just my opinion.
No, I happen to share your opinion. I agree with it. It's eventually they're not going to be able to keep this contained indefinitely with the advent of new tools, new technology, and now that we're in the 21st century, the truth will come out in one form or another. At the very least, I would imagine they would probably be forced to admit that at the bare minimum, we're not alone on this planet. And that would probably be the first step in any actual disclosure coming from the government, in my opinion. So, yeah, no, you make good points, Daniel. And I believe you're right about your observations. So good question. Ed, you're next.
Before you call on Ed, hold on one second. I'm going to say we are not alone. We have never been alone. That's why we all watch Ancient Aliens.
Well,
go ahead, Ed.
Final word. I got to step back and say, let's not get too disappointed about where we are. It's still exciting. Even if it's a little drip here and a little drip there, it's still so exciting to look at these events every day. But I kind of want to add to what Sergeant Daniel was saying, too. And Alice said something about this also in the back chat about AI. There's going to be a point at which AI and quantum computers are linked together, and then that's like end game in terms of information. It's really going to be powerful at that particular point. So, we look forward to that. We may be getting some sort of a result as those get closer to emerge. But right now, to answer her question, I do this almost every day. I ask these AIs, are we alone? And I get the standard answer, there's mixed feelings about that, mixed opinions.
Have you asked DeepSeek yet?
No, I'm not going to do DeepSeek simply because I do not trust the Chinese.
That's a good point, Ed.
Okay, Ed. How much are the goods in where you live right now were made in China?
Too many of them.
Yeah.
But you know why? I don't know why we haven't learned that earlier. I was thinking of this years ago. We are so dependent upon them, particularly for medicine, that if they ever decided to, just knock us out, they could just stop sending medicine.
You mean or how about PPE?
Yeah.
Personal protection equipment. Yeah, it's all manufactured in China.
You mean like when COVID was hitting and they wouldn't give us
No,
masks?
It's like before it actually hit and they actually went and they bought up all the PPE around the planet and had it shipped back to China. Oh, yeah, it was wonderful.
Well, there's a good point. We ought to every day look at the country, not just us. The country ought to look at.
It's not the people. The people are wonderful. It's the government that kind of gets.
That's true. Could we sustain ourselves if China just cut us off?
Yeah, I would hope so. Except retail would die.
Well, we found out during the pandemic that we were really dependent on China for a lot of the medications that we take for granted because we no longer produce any of that here.
You mean like fentanyl, which gets the raw ingredients get shipped from Canada. I mean, from the United Kingdom, actually they get shipped from China to Mexico and to Canada to get turned into fentanyl, and then they get sent into our country, Mike.
Yeah, but I'm talking about things even as simple as aspirin. is made from, we get the materials from China. We don't do a lot of that manufacturing here in this country anymore because the cost of labor is too high. And when we went through the pandemic, if they decided to pull the plug at any given time, we would have been screwed.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We were.
So, yeah, it's just a bad set of circumstances.
We'll talk about bad set of circumstances. We've got 2 more people with their hands up, Freezer Man and Greg.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Thomas. I was just thinking about this today. So is it possible that the reason why disclosure has not been brought out is because if disclosure is done and we're told that we're not alone, that the nation state no longer exists, that humans have to get along all of a sudden, and those who have power aren't going to want to give that up.
Well, in my opinion, especially with the way the government always tends to deal with answers to the public, even if we got an answer like that, simply that we're not alone, all that would do is raise a million more questions after that they probably wouldn't answer in a way that we would find meaningful, because that's how they operate, unfortunately. So we would get one answer, and then we'd have 1,000 more questions after that we would be struggling to get any additional information out of them at that point. At least that's how I see it, and that's how they've been dealing with the public so far up to this point. My 2 cents.
I'll take your 2 cents and add my 2 cents to it, and we almost have a nickel, Mike.
Almost. A penny short, but I understand that the current administration is also looking to phase out pennies once and for all.
Costs too much.
Yeah. Plus, no one really uses them anymore. They really don't. I mean, I go out to the stores every day. And what I noticed is when there was let's say, the cost of an object came out to...
Hello, Susan.
I'll get you, my...
Sorry, not supposed to do that. Go ahead, Mike.
What the hell was that?
I was supposed to play. I was trying to play a chicken sound effect. A whole bunch of them played at once, but go ahead.
Yeah. Well, what I was saying is that the cost of an item was like ended in 52 cents. They told me to forget about the pennies. They weren't interested in them. Didn't matter if I had them or I didn't. Nobody really wants to deal with them. They're not practical.
Mike, try and find a business who will round down instead of rounding up. Oh, 52 cents. Just give us 50 cents and we're good. No, they'll want their 55 cents.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true, because if there are no more pennies, they're going to definitely round up. No, you're right about that.
Oh, bingo. You know how that's going to go.
Yeah, I know, unfortunately. But that seems to be where we are headed with this right now.
You know, there used to be a halfpence in United Kingdom at one time, a halfpenny.
Oh, my God. More coins to carry around that have no value.
That was a long time ago. Thank God they never hit the euro.
Yeah. Well.
Daryl Zernick, your hand is up, Daryl.
Yep. I just keep seeing people posting things in the chat about the cost of a penny. The cost of a penny to make a penny
2.5 cents a piece.
3.7 cents, yeah. 3.7.
It's 3.7 cents.
Yeah. Is that why you had your hand up, Daryl?
That is why. Because I just want to say, go common sense.
Oh,
ooh, nice one. Yeah. That's pretty good. I like that. So, Michael, you've been patiently waiting. You're next.
Yeah, Canada got rid of its penny almost a decade ago, but you will notice, of course, you don't use, if you're paying cash, you don't use the penny, and they round up or round down depending on how much it costs. But if you use your Interact, it will charge you the 2 cents or the 4 cents, whatever amount of pennies it lands up being, and that comes out of your bank account.
Yeah, if you use a debit card or a credit card or any form of electronic payment, it doesn't matter what the actual penny amount is, they will deduct that regardless. But that's another point, because most people, not a lot of people carry cash, just in general. It doesn't matter if you're buying a cup of coffee, a newspaper, everyone uses plastic. They use their cards, bank card, credit card, whatever it is. No one's walking around with a pocket full of change anymore like we used to. Even when you take public transportation, they have the Metro cards. It's not cash. No one's using cash to the way that they have in the past. So even that is being phased out, it looks like.
So essentially the pennies still exist, but only in a virtual world, right?
In a digital world, correct, Michael.
Digital world, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. So, yeah, I guess it's okay. But, you know, the problem with, I am a firm believer, and I'm old school, that cash is king. Because when we went through the pandemic and we went through natural disasters like hurricanes, and we were without power for weeks on end, anything electronic, it just didn't work.
Yeah, but Mike, anytime you want to go out and spend money and don't want the spouse to know about it, you pay cash. Trust me, I learned about that many years ago.
Well, listen, I still am a firm believer that cash is more practical than carrying plastic.
Oh gosh, you can get away with paying tax when you pay cash.
That's true too. I have purchased things, and first thing they ask me, is this going to be all cash or is it going to be credit? Because if I paid all cash, they didn't charge me sales tax.
No.
Not
that we would ever promote that kind of a thought concept whatsoever. It's always great to support our local and federal governments, right, Mike?
Oh, absolutely. I'm just saying there were certain retailers that were interested between the difference of electronic payments and cash payments.
And whatever happened to no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security? It feels like we should have gotten that already, just like UFO disclosure, right?
Well, it seems like whatever the hell is going on lately with the current administration, a lot of things have been changing, because if you remember when the task force under Luna was announced, on the agenda, the first thing that they were going to tackle was the Kennedy files. But for some reason, we switched gears, and now we're focusing on the Epstein files.
You know why? Because Luna, someone, was it Nancy Mace or someone out there put out a survey and said, which do you want to see first? And it was Epstein, above and by
Kennedy.
far. The most people wanted to see the truth on the Epstein, which of course we're not going to get. Too many people with too much money are preventing that information from coming out.
Well, it's not just a question of people with money. The reality of the Epstein files, and this can very easily shift into the Sean Diddy Combs investigation.
Oh, that's even better than
days.
Epstein, I swear.
It is, and I'll tell you why. Because we have a lot of well-known, prominent celebrities.
Like Justin Bieber, potentially?
Like Justin Bieber, Usher, Oprah Winfrey, Steve Harvey. I mean, this list.
Oh, didn't Steve Harvey run out of the country recently when he heard all this stuff was coming to head?
Yes, most of the well-known celebrities have fled the country when the arrest of Sean Diddy Combs had occurred, because they are anticipating probably some serious fallout if they get named. And they are running for the hills just to be on the safe side. So the same thing is true going back to the Epstein files. If these people, and by the way, it's both sides of the aisle politically, there are going to be people on the Epstein list.
They're all crooked.
Ever comes out.
They're all
every
crooked.
one of them are guilty. Every one of them have been to that fucking island. Every one of them are amoral and are going to have to face the consequences sooner or later.
If Epstein was Mr. Rourke, who was Tattoo?
Oh, Tattoo?
Yeah.
Hervé Vliches.
Well, I know that. We're just saying if...
Well, the Diddy parties, from what I've heard, there were different versions of Tattoo there.
Yeah.
So, could be, it shifted from one to the other. And you know what? It's also interesting because now that we're talking about this, Epstein, it was nothing new with him. He was doing this for decades before he got caught. This was something going on for a long time behind the scenes that was unknown to the public. And then with Sean Diddy Combs, it's the same thing.
But, it was out in the public, though, Mike. Even King James from the NBA was there at all of his things, dressed up in a woman's outfit as like a maid.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and Jennifer Lopez. That the photo started to surface of her
with
nude.
Jay-Z and all that fun stuff.
With Jay-Z and Diddy Combs and all of these other people that they come across publicly so wholesome. And, that you would never suspect how deep it runs as far as the perversion and all these activities that are revolting to the average person. Family, people, it's disgusting. But these are things that have been occurring for many decades until they get caught. Nothing new with that.
It's like Weinstein. How long did Weinstein let his shit go on for?
Decades.
Yeah. And everybody, now he was the joke. He was the running joke about the casting couch.
Oh, absolutely he was. He absolutely was. But, because of the fame in Hollywood and the money and the power, this stuff stayed for a long time, under the radar. Same thing could be said about Bill Cosby, who was famous since the 1960s. And then he, after all this period of time, finally got caught. Something else that was going on for a very long period of time. The perversion, the behavior from human beings that people look up to as role models, and how twisted and perverted they actually are in real life. It's a shame. It really is. It's serious crimes that they were involved in committing. So, are we going to see any of the information behind these cases? Probably not. There's too many powerful people that are involved that it would just upend society to a degree. If the truth
Mike,
came
we're
out.
dealing with a new version of Who Shot JR. And that doesn't stand for who killed JR. It wasn't from the television shows. Who actually killed Joan Rivers?
Well, Joan Rivers was another situation, but not in the same vein of what we're discussing now.
No, but she was the one who talked about Big Mike.
Yeah. No, you're right about that. Yeah, she was the gossip queen in Hollywood.
Oh, she was.
Because
Short amount of time
secrets.
after she made that statement, she was deaded. Disappeared.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because since we're still talking about Epstein, I can tell you that when Bill Barr was working in the previous Trump administration, he claimed in his book that he saw the videotape in the correctional facility where Epstein was being housed before and after he died. And he claimed that there was no foul play. And he saw very clearly the before and after videos of Epstein in his cell, and that there was nothing occurred that was criminal or anything would be considered to be a murder. But what most people are not aware of or didn't pay much attention to is that back in 2008, when Epstein first was going to be tried for these crimes, There was a deal that was made with the federal government to not prosecute. You know who made that deal? Bill Barr, back in 2008.
Really?
Small world.
So he
Very
made the
small
deal
world.
for Epstein not to be tried, huh?
Correct. So this is very far, very deep where this goes, which is why we're not going to see that list that we got promises made during the campaign that it would all come out, just like with the drone information on day one. Well, it seems like a lot of things have been shifting in the current administration, and not for the better, unfortunately. So real truth coming out, I wouldn't hold my breath if I was anybody at this point.
No.
Because we're not.
We
know better.
Yeah.
We want it.
We've seen what's gone on with disclosure long enough. And if we expect the national secrets disclosure, yeah, how do you put this, Mike? That the bureaucratic deep state, like an SDNY,
yeah,
they are
that have been shredding files,
shredding
It's all
files,
time.
burning servers, whatever you want to call it. We have the bureaucratic state, the bureaucratic deep state that's doing whatever they can to prevent the truth from coming out, whether
Right.
it's UFOs or you name it.
No, but listen, you make a good point, because we know how politically divided this country is right now, and the population.
Yeah.
The truth of the matter is, it isn't one side or the other. It's both sides equally. They're all equally as guilty. It isn't one against the other. They are complicit in a lot of heinous behavior and crimes that have been committed against the innocent citizens. And the truth of that, doesn't matter who's sitting in the White House and the executive branch, we're never going to get that information voluntarily. It would require catastrophic disclosure, even in regards to the Kennedy files or the Epstein files or the Diddy files or any of these long-running crimes against humanity.
Right, because we're dealing with a bureaucratic state that is heavily left-leaning, who's in control of all these different agencies. Unless we're going to fire everybody, we're not going to get the truth. I guess that means we have to fire everybody.
Yeah, that would be a good place to start, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
If we ever want a chance at getting the truth, that's how I see it.
Oh, yeah.
I agree with that, and you make a good point.
Yeah.
But now, who's going to do that? The Democrats, the Republicans? Probably not. I think the two-party political state that we've been running our country with this entire time needs to change. I think there needs to be a major reforms, at least as far as our politics in this country. I think we need multiple parties. I think they need to reform all of the lobbyists and the corporate money that influence this. I think the corruption runs far, far and deep, far and wide. And I think until we really do something to try to change the system as it's been and as it currently is, I think we're always going to be within arm's length of the truth, but never close enough to touch it.
Exactly, my friend.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It's one of those things we have to take a look at, and all I can say is, wow, if you look at the time, Mike, we've covered a lot of the stuff we heard to talk about today, and not
We did, and I'm looking at the clock. You're right.
I know.
Yeah, we almost made
And
it
my
to
back
2
is
hours.
saying it's time to get to bed and relax and take the pain off the leg. And
No, it is. It's definitely about that time, and we've covered a lot of ground today. So
Oh, yeah.
it was fun conversation.
I absolutely want to thank everybody for your wonderful super chats. We got 3 of them today from Brian Pemble. Diddy was the last original egg story. Barbara was late to the party. You better believe it, Brian. Anne Marie gave us a super chat. And Kane Northrop, how about that? A bunch of great love and support from everybody out there in Disclosure Tonight land. More importantly, I want to thank Ed and God, who else raised your hand? There we go. Let's thank Ed and Alice for raising your hands, my friends. Great show, great opportunity to hang out with friends, Mike. Mike. And as we usually say, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everybody, but... Go back! What the hell?
to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. Well, good night, everybody. Love you. I'll come back now here. See you Friday. Hopefully, we'll have more disclosure to talk about. Until then, y'all come back now here. Take care. Bye-bye.